What you're looking at here are 5 years of Sony flagship headphones, from the WH-1000XM4s released in 2020 to the WH-1000XM6s released in 2025. As an owner of the XM4s, I've been banging my head trying to figure out if the XM5s are enough of an upgrade to get, or if the XM6s are worth the extra premium. Hashtag tariffs. Well, fortunately enough, I can always count on you guys to pull through. So big shout out to Langton, who graciously lent me these XM5s and XM6s to compare side by side. Let's get to it. The XM4s are pretty easy to tell from the rest of the pack. A lot more going on with their design than the cleaner looking 5s and 6s. Also, it's a bit difficult to tell apart the 5s and 6s. You really have to look closely to see a bit of headband difference for the folding mechanisms on the 6s that is missing on the 5s, and the new circular power button design on the 6s that breaks tradition from the one on the 4s and the 5s. On the comfort side of things, I feel like on all three pairs of headphones, the cushions could be just a bit deeper. My ears are slightly pressed against the foam covering the drivers, which is fine until about 4 hours into wearing them continuously. Clamping force is a bit stronger on the newer headphones, which makes them feel slightly more secure when moving about, and because of the massive cups, the slightly more secure fit doesn't compromise on comfort. They are still large headphones, so enough movement will make them fall off. As for weight, they are pretty similar, with the XM4s being the heaviest and the XM6s in the middle, with the XM5s being the lightest. I guess deleting the folding hinge might have helped there, but you can barely feel the difference. So just based on my experience, the XM4s are the more comfortable over marathon listening sessions, thanks to them having slightly deeper cushions than the newer models, and they're also a bit loose, adding to that comfort, which might be a result of, I don't know, close to 5 years of use. You can see the wear and tear. How do they sound? Especially for someone with the XM4s and thinking about upgrading. Personally, I saw a very small gap between the XM4s and the XM6s on audio performance. They are all brilliant, and the areas where the XM5 and XM6s have improved are audio quality in ambient mode. The XM5, even more so the XM6, produce richer audio and better bass in transparency mode. The XM6 also goes a step further with just pure audio clarity. The instrument and vocal sound clearer and cleaner than the XM4s and the XM5s. It's subtle, but something audio enthusiasts are surely going to notice. What is a clear walkover is the transparency mode on the XM6s. It's brilliant. Sony came to play here. It's much clearer and cleaner than the XM4s by a huge margin, and even then it does a very pleasing job selecting ambient noises it pumps up and the ones it suppresses. You can adjust the amount of noise cancelling you need with a slider, and it's very effective. You can really fine-tune till you have the right amount, and I honestly was absolutely pleased with the performance. Good noise cancelling. Audio performance across the board goes hands down to the XM6s. Crispy clear sound, richer bass in ambient mode, and the best ambient mode of all the three. Oh, and peak volume has also progressed over time, with the XM6s reaching the highest peak volume of the three with no distortion or reduction in bass intensity. We expect nothing less than perfection. These headphones all have a ridiculous amount of tech built in, including device tracking, motion tracking, and Gemini. They sometimes feel like you're wearing an Iron Man suit and having Friday giving you the updates. I won't be going over all the features, otherwise this video would easily be over an hour long, so I'll only list the ones that I played around with. The XM6s now allow you to use headphones whilst they're charging, both in Bluetooth or wired mode. The XM4s and 5s could never pull that off. The XM6s also automatically switch to Bluetooth when the headphone jack is removed. I especially love this one because in most instances I'm moving from my PC to my phone, and the process of turning the headphones on again is just a little bit annoying, just a little. bit annoying. Even though the XM4s are old, there are a couple of areas where they performed better than the newer ones. Imagine that. Connection stability was the best on the XM4s compared to the XM5s and 6s. Surprisingly, the 6s were the worst, with periodic but very brief audio chirps. Another weird anomaly was the power drain on my smartphone with the headphones connected. It was significantly higher on the newer headphones than the older XM4s. I'm not sure if it's a codec issue or, I don't know, the built-in tracking features accessing the GPS, but it's bad on these two. And lastly, it's not a big deal, but I'll nitpick on this because I can. When you power on the XM4s, you have a nice lady telling you that the headphones have been powered on, that they're connected to a Bluetooth device, and that you've entered pairing mode if you initiate that. They removed this nice lady and replaced her with chimes, which I personally don't prefer. They can't compete with the intuitive nature of an actual human voice giving you updates. It really felt like a bit of a downgrade there.
Power on.
Bluetooth connected. Bluetooth second device connected. Bluetooth pairing. Power off.
Alright, so this is actually harder than I thought. The XM4s are brilliant, but are behind the pack when it comes to built-in features, audio quality, and by a very big gap, transparency mode if you use that a lot. That said, they are super affordable compared to the newer ones at the moment. The XM5s, they're a bit weird. They are smack in the middle of the 4s and 6s, albeit closer to the 4s than the 6s. Very brilliant again, with much better transparency mode and better sounding audio. If you get them at a good price, they're a proper bargain. Then, the XM6s. They're the most superior in all regards, absolutely packed with tech. They sound the best, they have the best transparency mode, and the auto connect to Bluetooth when the jack is removed, plus the ability to retain full functionality whilst they're charging are just boss moves. But they have a very hefty asking price attached to them, which makes an otherwise simple decision very hard. The XM6s are a bigger improvement over the XM5s than the XM5s were over the XM4s. Money being no object, XM6s are a winner. Then it's a toss-up between the XM5s and 4s depending on how big of a bargain you can get for either of them. And it gives me great pain to have to return these brilliant set of cans to their owner. What an audio experience from the XM6s, and what a legendary showcase from Sony of the progress of their most elite Bluetooth headphones. I'll catch you next time.